Hi and welcome to PEPP Story Live. I'm using some new kit tonight, so I'm hoping it's all going to go well. But tonight we're going to be talking about evaluating speeches, giving feedback on speeches. Really important skill. So here we are tonight talking about evaluating a speech. Okay, and it's a really, really important speech skill. Let's see if I can actually put it up on screen. Evaluating a speech. Now, um, I became a professional speaker back in the mid '80s, but I I needed help. This was a time when there wasn't an awful lot of support and help for anybody who wanted to be a speaker in the United Kingdom, and so I joined a Toastmasters club. There were only two in London. I joined the new one that was opening up, London Corinthians. And I started to learn some really important skills that I'd never really grasped before. And the most important of those was evaluating a speech. The way a Toastmasters club works is you get a manual with 10 speech projects. It doesn't tell you what you've got to speak about, but broadly where to draw on. So the first speech is the icebreaker. Speak from experience. Use your own experiences. The second speech is speak with sincerity. Speak with passion. And the third speech is all about organizing your speech. Sense of purpose. You see where the PEP comes from? Purpose, experience, passion. I just rearranged the order because it worked better for me. But yeah, those are the three first speeches that people do. So yeah, you decide the content, but that's the structure. Now, every time you deliver a speech in a Toastmasters club, somebody will then get up and evaluate your speech. That's a very short 4 minute speech, looking at your speech and telling you how what you did well, how well that was, and what you could improve. And that's the essence of evaluation. Now, the problem for most people is, and I'm sure this has happened to you if you've done did a speech, and you went to one of your friends and you said, how was that? What was that speech like? Now, you're going to get one of two answers. You're either going to get a supportive answer. You're going to get the answer that they think you want to hear. It was great. Hey, yeah, cool, really good. Doesn't matter whether they believe it or not. It's just a sense of, yeah, it was cool. It's not evaluation. It's just some feedback. It's buttering you up. It's making you feel good. Alternatively, you might find somebody who decides to give it real, tell you what it's really all about. Actually, it really wasn't very good at all. You missed this, you missed that, and a whole stack of things that you could improve. And of course, you go away from one of those thinking, oh, I messed that up. And our biggest fear, we made a fool of ourselves. We've humiliated ourselves. And that is what you don't want. So that's the problem. Most people don't know how to give feedback. Now, I'll let you into a secret. Most managers don't know how to give feedback. I have been in so many evaluations when I was in my early career, and people just did not know how to give you feedback that would actually help you to improve and move on. All the time they criticize. I had a rule: never, ever, ever give criticism. Because nobody wants criticism. Nobody likes criticism. And everybody thinks that criticism is something negative. Just one criticism. And if somebody says it to you, you know what's coming at you. Oh, yeah, just one criticism. I think you should have. I didn't like this. We don't like the idea of criticism. So I want to try and change that. Now, bear in mind that we're talking all the way through this about remembering those 5 principles: purpose, experience, passion, and performance. Okay? And story. Sorry, purpose, experience, passion, performance, and story. You've got to remember those elements of the speech because that's what you're evaluating. That's what you're looking for. Did the speaker use that? So what we're going to try and do when we evaluate a speech is to give positive, constructive feedback. What we want to try and do is give somebody some feedback that helps them to know how they could improve the speech because, frankly, everybody can improve a speech. doesn't matter how good you are as a speaker. I have never seen a speech that couldn't be improved in some way or another. And I've never known a speaker who couldn't look at their speech and think, yeah, I could improve that. In fact, once upon a time, I used to hate giving any kind of video of someone's speeches because I know that we are our worst critics, and we really are critical. We look and think, oh my God, look, I didn't know. Why didn't somebody tell me that clashed? Why didn't I keep on doing this? And I know that I've got problems. Here we are speaking online, and I know I have this tendency to move forward. And I know tonight, just looking at the screen, I've got a little bit of problem with the light. I'm speaking in a room I don't normally speak in. The lighting isn't well set up here. I've got a ring light in front of me, but if I move too far forward, it shines up my face. So maybe I should be wearing a little bit more powder. There's a whole lot of things that I keep thinking, yeah. So I can find lots of things wrong with my speech. I only have to look for a few minutes and I can start to see them. Now, what do we need to do in evaluating a speech? This is how I handled it. And I was, Toastmasters holds competitions every year. You have a brand, your competition in your club, and then you have the area, and then the district, and then the division. And division, and then the district. And for me, the district was Britain and Ireland. And for 2 years, I won the Evaluator of the Year award. That is, I went through a club contest, and then I went to the area contest, the division contest, and the district contest. And I had to get up with no preparation, listen to someone's speech, go out of the room, prepare my notes, come back in and deliver a 3-minute speech, evaluating their speech. And then judges would say which one was the best. And I've won those competitions all the way through, right to the end, on the 2 occasions that I entered. So I know I'm pretty good at evaluating, and I developed a technique that I think works, and I've used it countless times now. And I just want to share that with you because it's a really effective tool. So the first thing you got to remember is basically what you do is you take a sheet of paper. If you're listening to someone's speech, take a sheet of paper, A4 paper, draw a line down the middle, creating 2 columns. At the top of one of the columns, write commendations. And what I mean by commendations, what's working with this speech? What's good? What do I like about this speech? Yeah. What's the purpose of the speech? We'll come back to it all in a minute. And in the second column, you write recommendations. What could this speaker do to improve the speech, to make it better? And you don't need to think about anything else. Complex lists of, evaluating this. No. Forget all those. 2 things you're looking for. What is right? What's working? What is the speaker getting right? Because that's some of the feedback that you need to give someone. But you also need to give recommendations. Now, this is the challenge I found so many people have when I run workshops, when I get everybody doing this process. Everybody evaluates each other's speeches because it's a tool to help you grow. I'll explain that in a second. But you need to learn how to give both the recommendations and the commendations. You can tell people what they're doing right and how could it be improved. Not what's wrong with it, that's not an issue. It's how could it be improved. If there is something where you think, oh, they got this wrong, oh God, it's monotonous, right, turn it, flip the script. How could it be improved? You could improve the vocal variety. Not you were very dull and monotone. That's a negative criticism. Turn it around. What is your recommendation? How could it be better? You could have used more stories from your own life. They seem to all become, that's a good recommendation. Can you see how taking away a good recommendation is very different to taking away a criticism of what you did wrong? Nothing's wrong. Everything can be improved. Think of it that way, and it really starts to work. So questions you need to think about, what questions do you need to be asking as you're listening to this speech and you're writing commendations, recommendations. Write down, if you want, the PEPP. Just write down simply on your page so you've got it: purpose, experience, passion, performance, story. Get those notes down so that you've actually got them there and you know that that's what you're working with. So what's the point? What's the point? What's the message? Most important question to ask of any speech, because if this fails, if the speech fails in delivering a message, a clear single message, if it hasn't got that, It's not an outstanding speech. It's actually missing something big, because without that, you have to then say, why? What are we doing this speech for? Okay, it might be just entertainment. What's the point? Make me laugh. Fine. Did it make you laugh? If it did, then that's the point. Help me to improve myself at work. Did it give you tools to improve yourself at work? And did it give you clear techniques? Is there a call to action? So then we get to them. What do I do with this information? What am I going to do? Yeah, I've heard this is great. Yeah, fabulous speech. So what? So where do I go with it? You need to get that clear so you've got it there. So what's the point? What am I going to do with this information? And start looking at this. Are they using experiences? Are they drawing on their own experiences, or is it all somebody else's? Because I want to hear about your experiences when I'm listening to your speech. I want to hear the journey you've traveled. That's the journey that's going to make a difference for me, because that's why I'm there. Remember what I said. Remember my message, take action. Those are my objectives when I deliver a speech. What's the point? What have I said? What's the point of my speech? What do you do about it next? Take action. So that's where we're going. So, you might want to say halfway through a speech, do you know the speaker's name? So what I'm going to suggest that you do now is to take a look at TEDx talks. Now, I don't know if any of you have actually looked at TEDx. Just take a look at the TEDx talks. Just if you just look at TEDx, you can go to their site. You can just randomly, you can even get an app on your phone, just randomly watch speeches, or you can take a look at the top speeches. If you're just trying to improve your speaking, it's probably not a good idea to start trying to evaluate, Ken Robinson or Amy Cuddy or Brené Brown. Now, these are people who get 50 million views. These are, we know, brilliant speeches. Worth looking at those speeches, the top speeches. Simon Sinek, have a look and see what they do in 20 minutes that makes them worthy of getting 50 million views. I mean, God, wish I could get there. I've done reasonably well. I'm very happy with, I think it's 120,000 views on my TEDx talk, which I think is pretty good. I'd love it to be a million, but it's not yet. But maybe I'll get there. So have a look at a TEDx talk. Now, most TEDx talks, frankly, if you look around, you'll find most TEDx talks have had like 1,000 views, not the millions of views. And these are the ones you want to look at. Have a look and evaluate those speeches. Take a piece of paper, take a pad, and just start going through them. Do one a day. Because what you'll find is that as you look at someone's speech and start to think, okay, fine, what are they doing right? Oh, I love the way they use that story. Look at that. My God, he's so passionate. And then you get another story and think, oh, God, this is dull. Why is this dull? What's going wrong? There's no passion. There's no connection to their own true life. There's no point to the story. They're not understanding where we're going. There. And you may find performance things. The voice is very difficult. It's hard to listen to. Yet, whatever it is, just make notes. What is really working? How could it be improved? What is working? How could it be improved? As you look at those things, you'll begin to start asking the same questions for yourself. Sorry. What is working? How can it be improved? When you see a video of your own talks, what is working? How can it be improved? I'm going to be setting up later in the month. I'm going to set up some Zoom chats so that people can come along and do some, I just want to provide an opportunity for people who are watching this program, this series. And I'm doing these partly as a challenge for myself, but partly to deliver some message. And I'm going to run a free Zoom program. So you'll only find out about it if you listen to the videos, if you're listening to them, because I'm not going to actually write about it, but I will give the link to anybody who wants it, and they can come along. It'll be at the end of the month. It'll just give you a chance to come along if you've been listening to what I'm saying and try something out. Do a little short talk, 5-minute talk, and get some feedback, get some evaluation. Depending on how many are there, there'll be group eval. I'll find a way to make it work. I'm looking at, and I'm going to be using it as a tester to look at how I can run online group coaching and group presentations. So there we are. That's pretty much the sort of thing I wanted to talk to today. Remember the message, take action, remember my name. Those are the goals you've got to try and achieve. If you want to be an outstanding speaker, that's the goal. Make sure that when your audience goes away, they know what your message was and they're going to take action about it. and then remember who you are. Try and get your name in some ways. Just remind people. It's easy enough to do it. Just remember. I'm going to do it in a minute. Just talk to me at ricky@rickyarundel.com. Email me there. When you come to this, you see Ricky Arundel all over it. I'm doing everything I can to make sure, without being in your face, to remind you that it's Ricky Arundel you're listening to. And that's what I want to happen. For no other reason than I want to know that if you like what I'm doing, you'll tell somebody else. Oh, you should see. Oh, who was that again? Yeah, you should see Ricky Arundel. I'm very lucky. I'm the only person called Ricky Arundel in the world, so that actually helps me. So, purpose, experience, passion, performance, and story. Look for those when you're looking at someone's speech, when you're looking at a TEDx speech. Look for that. Look for the PEPP, story in action. Is it working? And you will find, I guarantee, if you look at the best speeches, go and have a look at Amy Cuddy, have a look at Brené Brown, have a look at Simon Sinek, you will see the PEPP story in action. Because, I found the PEPP story not by inventing it, but by observing it. That was the whole point. It was there, already being played out. I just had to see it and turn it into a formula so people could actually recognize it. And that was the thing. It wasn't something I invented. It's something that exists. It's like it's natural. And later in the month, when we start talking a little bit more about story, you'll see some other ancient sages. I'm going to talk about the 3-act play. The 3-act play has been around for thousands of years. That's why we know it works. So join me tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be extending this a little bit more, and we're going further into things. But if you need some coaching, if you're looking at doing a TEDx talk, you've got to do some online Zoom talks. You want to make yourself more animated, more engaging on Zoom. I've been to some pretty bad Zoom meetings, so there's an awful lot of things that you can do to improve it. Anyway, just email me at ricky@rickyarundel.com. Just fix a time with me and let's just have a 30-minute session. I'm happy to do that. Talk to you about how I might be able to help and how you can become a great speaker simply by following some very, very basic, simple rules. So that's it for today. Thank you for being with me. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've learned something from this. And if you've only just come in towards the end of it, don't worry. It's going to be up on YouTube and it's up on Facebook. It will be on LinkedIn, but I'm going to be doing those next week. I'm going to be putting everything up on LinkedIn as well. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed it. This is Ricky Arundel. See you tomorrow.